This is the last story about lost things that Jesus told. The younger son received his father's inheritance and went to a faraway country. He spent all that money there. However, the father waited for his ungrateful younger son and welcomed him warmly upon his return. He ran to hug him, dressed him in his best clothes so that no one could criticize him, put a ring on his finger, and put on his shoes. The younger son said, "I have sinned against heaven and before my father. From now on, I have no right to be called my father's son." But the father said this to the servants at home, "Slaughter the fatted calf and have a feast." At that time, if a cow was slaughtered and a feast was held, it meant that everyone in the village would be invited and a big feast would be held. Now that our lost son has been found, it's only natural that we should all be happy and rejoice together, right? But amidst this great joy, there was one person who was not happy at all. He was the elder son. On the way home from work, the eldest son heard music and dancing coming from the house. He probably had a premonition that his younger brother had returned. He had seen his father waiting for his younger brother for a long time. So he must have known that his father would forgive him. We guess the eldest son didn't want to go home and see that. He called a servant and asked, "What's going on?" The servant reported that the younger brother had returned safely and in good health, and that his master had slaughtered the fatted calf. The eldest son became angry at the story and refused to enter the banquet. When the father heard about this situation, he came outside and comforted his eldest son. The eldest son talks to his father, "When I worked for you, you never even gave me a goat. Will you slaughter a calf for my younger brother, who squandered all of your wealth?" The eldest son was angry because of his younger brother. Of course, he also received his father's inheritance, but he must have hated his younger brother for spending all of that inheritance, and yet his father slaughtered a calf and held a feast for him. The father was probably more heartbroken by the words of his older son, who did not understand his feelings. Then when his younger son left his home, and when the neighbors criticized him, the father calls his eldest son. "Hey." He was saying this as if he were calling his son whom he loves very much. "Sweetheart, from the moment I passed on my inheritance, everything about me was already yours." And the father explains to the eldest son the reason why they should rejoice the younger one's coming. Everyone, unlike when you lose a sheep or a coin, when you lose a person, someone gets hurt and your heart breaks. Who do you think is in most pain in the Bible verses today? It's the father. So when tax collectors and sinners live in sin, who hurts the most? That's right, it's God. God, whose heart was hurt more than anyone else's, accepted the tax collectors and sinners who came to Jesus and told them to rejoice and be happy together. Just as the Pharisees wanted to be with Jesus, the eldest son also said that he was disappointed about his father's interest and love. However, God tells us, the Pharisees and the scribes, to open our hearts once again, to accept and rejoice together.